this video, we're going to be making a floor lamp. We're going to be making it in several parts. It's going to be the lamp shade, the frame around the lamp shade, and then the lamp stand itself. You've pretty much done what the lamp stand asks you to do before when you did the Frisbee, because we're going to revolve it, but we're going to learn some new things in this one. In particular, we're going to use something called layers. And so what you'll need to do is under Window, you're going to want to make sure that the Layers menu is checked off. My Layers menu is over here. Okay. Now Layers allows you to turn on and off things. When you get more complicated in your drawings, there's lots of different things that you could accidentally select or something like that. So layers help you kind of sort out your information. So layer 0 is the layer that automatically comes with the program, and you can't do anything with layer 0. So we're going to leave it there. But underneath the layer 0 on the bottom of that little layers window, if you hover over this little button right here, there's a button that says new layer. It looks like a new piece of paper being put on a stack. We're going to click new layer, and we're going to name this layer fabric. Okay, and we're going to hit enter. Okay, and you can set right beside the name to the left, you can set a color for that. We're going to set that to magenta. All right, we're going to do a new layer again, and we're going to name it frame and enter, and we're going to label the frame, we're going to have that be yellow, and we're going to do one more and label it lamp stand. Okay, and the lamp stand we will do in, let's do it in cyan. Okay, because those colors tend to show up better on videos, the only reason I'm using them. Okay, now what's really, really important is whatever you're building, so we're going to start with the lamp stand. So whatever you're building, that should be the layer that's highlighted. Okay, so we're going to make sure that that layer is blue. Okay, like this blue ribbon on it. All right, so we're going to use this picture as our model for how to build the lamp with the dimensions we need. So things we need to turn on the ortho mode to start with, and the snap mode. I think other than that, the snap tracking, object snap tracking would be helpful as well. All right, and I'll even put dynamic input on because sometimes that's helpful. All right, I'm going to start with the line. I'm going to make the top first. We are making the lamp stand, so that's the one that is on. Okay, so I'm going to choose the line tool. Actually, before I do that, I'm going to set up this to be built in centimeters, because that's what the drawing calls for, is actually centimeters from where I got the drawing from. So you're going to go to Format, you're going to go to Units, and here where it says Insertion Scale Units on the bottom left, we're going to do centimeters, and we're going to click OK. All right, and now to help our drawing like zoom in and zoom out, we can do something called setting a limit, which is where you try to guess where the outer edges of your drawing are so you can't zoom too far out. So in order to do that, we're going to go to Format, Drawing Limits, and it's going to ask us to specify the lower left hand corner, which is set for 0, 0. And we're going to hit, we're going to do 0, 0, enter. And then the upper right hand corner, we're going to set for 200, 200, enter. Okay, and then you can actually, once you've done that, you can do View, Zoom, All. All right, and it will zoom out, and the very bottom of the screen is the X, and then Y is going up the side. Okay, so somewhere sort of close to the top, not all the way to the top, we're going to draw a line, and it's going to be that 22 centimeter line right here. So we're going to go Line Tool. We're going to make sure that the lamp stand is the selected layer. Oops. And we're going to do Line Tool, and we're going to you can turn the grid on if you like, just to get started, the snap mode, and it doesn't really matter where, we're just going to start it. So I'm going to click, I'm going to head in this direction and do 22, enter. Okay, now that did not actually build in my lamp stand layer, so let me make sure that I know how to make that the layer that we're working in. Maybe if okay, so there's an eyeball here that lets you know whether whether that layer is visible or not. So I double clicked the lamp stand layer, but not on the actual word, because otherwise. Now I can right click or control click on the word lamp stand, and there's a button that says make active. That would mean that that's the active layer. Okay, and since we color coded it, we'll know if it's actually working or not. So I'm going to click, and then I'm going to do 22, enter. There we go. Now it's cyan. All right, the middle of the lamp from the top all the way to the bottom is 175, so we're going to use the midpoint of this here. I'm actually going to turn off, there's something called nearest, I'm going to turn that off. We'll use that later. I'm going to click the midpoint and head straight down and do 175, enter. Okay, great. And then I'm going to escape, and then we'll do the bottom. And what we're going to do actually is, this kind of makes sense. I hadn't thought of this before, but this is a neat little trick. So this bottom needs to be 34. So what I'm going to do is on the side, I'm going to draw it, and then I'll move it into place. So I'll do 34. Then I'm going to click move. I'm going to grab that, hit enter, grab the base point, which I'll use the midpoint, and then I will snap that onto the base point of the lamp stand. There we go. And then I need this 45 going across, which is 32 down. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to do right off to the side again, 45, enter. Then I'm going to move it, click to move it, hit enter, grab it by the midpoint as the base point. And then what I'm going to do, since we have object snap tracking on, I believe if I hover, if I hover over that midpoint there and start moving down, I can do 32, enter. That didn't quite work the way I wanted it to. Let me try that again. I'm going to click it. I'm going to click on move. I'm going to click it. I'm going to hit enter. Let me try, so specify the base point. It's going to be there. And then I'm going to go here and hover just for a second. Okay, well, you know what? I'll just place it, and then we'll just move it down. So I'll go move. I'll click the outside of this. Enter. We'll use the base point here, and I'll start moving down. 32. Enter. So you should have this. Okay. If you move the small one down by mistake, just undo it and go back. All right. So now that's all I need for the frame for this moment. So now I'm going to switch layers by double clicking, the lamp stand. Now we're going to work on the fabric. So I'm going to double click the fabric layer to make that the active layer. Actually shows you your active layer up here, which is helpful. Okay. We're going to select in our drafting toolbox the polyline tool. It's up here. Okay, click. And what we're going to do is we're going to create a shape that goes from here to the edge, and then it's going to arc down to here, just like our picture. Okay, but we're going to start at the midpoint of the top, click, and go out to the edge, click. And then to get this part, on the bottom of the screen, you have an option to make an arc with the polyline tool by typing A, enter. So I'm going to do A, enter. And then this arc obviously is not the kind of arc we want. So if you do S for second point and hit enter, you can choose a point that this arc would go through. So I'm going to turn off my ortho mode for a second. Okay, and let's see, like this looks like a good spot. So I'm going to click here, and then I will click the endpoint over here, and then I can just hit enter to be done. Now if you did that and you don't like it, if you want it to be more or less bendy, I guess would be the word, you can click on this arc with the select tool, and then you can stretch this way or that way. So I'm going to leave it the way it is. Okay. All right. So now we are going to create a hexagon shaped lampshade, and we're going to do that by getting this shape to revolve around 6 times, and it's going to make a surface as it revolves. So we have to tell it what kind of surface we need to do. So if you just start typing surf tab, you should see the option for surf tab 1 and surf tab 2. So just under surf tab 1, hit enter, and then it says enter value for surf tab and 1, and it's set for 6. You can just hit enter. So we're going to do surf tab 2 now, enter, and we're going to enter a value of 30, and then enter. And I'll explain why you're doing that in just a second. You'll be able to see it better in a moment. Okay, so now we're going to split our view. So we're going to go up to the plus sign up here and get a new viewport. So viewport configuration list to vertical. All right, so I'm going to use the top view up here. I'm going to change that to like, let's go left view. Let's see if that's what we want. Nope, it's not. So we'll do southwest isometric. Okay, so you'll at least be able to see it like this. Okay, so I'm going to do a revolve surface. So I'm going to type in REVSERF, revolve surface, and then hit enter. Select the object to revolve. We're going to select this magenta shape that we just made. Okay. Select object that defines the axis of revolution. We're going to revolve it around this line. So I'm going to click there. Okay. And then specify start angle is 0. Specify the included angle. So it's going to go all the way to 360. We're going to go all the way around. Hit enter. Okay. So now you should see this. Okay. And that surf tab stuff that we did, surface tabulation, is how many grid lines you get here. So if you were to count these would be 30 grid lines going up. Okay. So that's nice, but this lampstand is up and down, is laying on its side, and we need to have it be up and down for the next part because we're going to do the trim around the top of the lamp, like the wire frame that you use on the outside of the lampshade. Okay, so in order to do that, we're going to type in rotate 3D. Okay, we're going to click on rotate 3D, select the objects, we're selecting everything, and then we're going to hit enter. Then it says, how are we going to rotate this? Well, we're actually going to rotate this on the base. We're going to choose 2 points. So there's a thing that says, how are you going to rotate this? And actually, we can rotate it. It says, which axis do we want to rotate it on? We'll do Z, because it's the Z axis. Enter. And then specify a point. Oh, that's not how I want to do it. Never mind. Let me do rotate. See, I thought I found a new way. I wasn't so sure about that. Select the objects. Okay. Hit enter. And we'll do 2 for 2 points that we're going to choose that will define the axis we're rotating around. So hit enter. And then first axis point is here, and second axis point is there. And then it will ask me how far to rotate it. We'll do 90 degrees and hit enter, and it should be straight up and down. Okay. And now we can change this to top view if we want to. Okay. And actually those are both the same, so I'm going to change this to southwest isometric so we can see it again. Awesome. All right. So now I'm going to work over here in top view, but you can see with all these lines it's very easy to select the wrong thing. Okay, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to double click on the frame layer because we're going to start with the frame. Okay, so I'm going to use the line tool and I'm going to make a shape out here on the edge. Okay, so I'm going to take one of these corners, and if your grid snap's on, you might want to turn that off because it may get you stuck here. And I'm actually going to turn off object snap tracking too for now. I'm going to click on this. Now, actually, let me share something with you. Lots of times when students have done this before, they think they're clicking out here and it ends up clicking way down here on the base. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over beside the word lampstand on the layers, and I'm going to click off the little filled in circle, and it's going to disappear. Now that doesn't mean it's actually gone, because we can get it back, and actually I do want to get it back because I want to get rid of something. We don't actually need this blue line here anymore, so I'm going to click it and hit delete, but I have to click just that, hit delete, and then the same thing with the top. Now, here's why layers can be important. Look at the top. It's like layered on top of itself. So I'm going to make the fabric disappear momentarily, and then I'm going to click on this and hit delete. I'll turn the fabric back on. Okay, so now double click the frame layer to make sure we're building with the frame. All right, so now I'm going to go over to this viewport, and I'm going to go over to this side. I'm going to use the line tool, and I'm going to click the edge here. Okay, and then we'd like to go along this line, but we can't exactly get there. So if you right click on your object snap, you can turn on an object snap called nearest point. Okay, and so it will find a point nearest the object and just a small area above there like that, and hit escape. Okay, now we want to mirror that so it's the same shape going the other direction, you know, same line. So I'm going to type in mirror. Okay, and then I'm going to select the object to mirror, which is the yellow, and hit enter. Specifies the first point on the mirroring line. So what's the line that would make up the mirror? So we want to make sure we're on the end point here. I'm going to click here, and then I'm going to turn on the ortho mode because I want to make absolutely sure that I'm going in a straight line. Okay, and I'm going to go out to the left. Okay, and then I should be able to hit enter and get 2 of those. See that? Okay, So now I want to join those together. So I'm going to type join, enter. Okay, and then I'm going to click the yellow lines and hit enter, and now they're joined together. Okay, now I need to offset that so that I have, because this is not a solid object yet, but you can see where it's going over here. Okay, I want to make it a similar shape, so I'm going to do offset, enter, and then specified distance of offset. Let's go with 0.25, enter. And I'm going to click this object, and I'm going to go in this direction. Okay, now all that's left is I'm going to join it up with some extra lines here, so we get this cool shape here. Okay, and then I've got to join it all. So I just typed in join, and now we'll join it all into one object. Okay, now the idea is we would like this shape to go up along the edge of this frame, but the lampshade. But that's really hard because we can't just draw a line for that. So we're actually going to use a different tool I don't know that we've used yet called the spline tool. It creates a smooth curve that passes through several nearby points. So I'm going to click on the spline tool, and the important thing is we got to get started right here. Okay, so I'm going to click here. Now you don't have, I'm going to switch over to this view and turn off my ortho because I don't want to go in a straight line. Because it's a little easier to pick points on this view. If you want a perfectly smooth line, or as smooth as you can get it, you could click all of these little intersections. I'm gonna go and choose, I don't know, maybe every 3 or 4 and start clicking. Now don't worry that your line seems to bend out of shape up towards the top, because it will stop when we're done clicking some. Okay, and it gets harder as you get up closer because the points are closer together. But I'm going to click there and then hit enter to be done. Just kind of take a look and you'll see that there's a yellow line that's going up. So that's going to be the path that we use to extrude that shape. So I'm going to click on the 3D modeling tools, and I'm going to choose extrude. And the object I want to extrude is this object here in my left viewport. So I'm going to click on it. I'm going to hit enter. And then usually an extrude is just a straight up or down. This time we want it to follow a path, and that is an option. So I'm going to do P and hit enter. And the path I want it to follow is that yellow spline. So if I click it, now I should get this really nice border, this frame here. Okay, and if you want to, you can even turn on your realistic mode and see that it's this nice piece there. Okay, so now we need that to copy 6 times. We could go through all those together, all those steps again, or we could use a shortcut. So there's a tool called the array tool. You used it to make the Rubik's Cube, and when we did that, we did a rectangular array, which stacks things in sort of square shape. But what we're actually going to do is do something called an array polar. So you're going to type in ARRAY, and then there's a whole bunch of arrays, but I'm going to go ARRAYP and O, and then it should say array polar as an option. I'm going to hit enter. Okay, select the object you want to do the array of, and so I'm going to do it in this left hand viewport because it's nice and flat, and I'm going to click the object, the yellow object. Okay, I'm going to hit enter, and it says specify center point of the array. So we're actually going to center it around the whole top center of this midpoint of the shade. So I'm going to click there, and then it asks me up in this box, or it might ask you down on your command line, how many objects and how many degrees. Mine's already set for 6 objects on 360 degrees, which is exactly what I need. So I'm just going to hit enter to accept that, and that should be that part. Now we need some trim on the top and some trim on the bottom. So what I'm going to have you do is I'm going to have you hide the fabric layer for now, because this will be much easier to do without the fabric layer showing. So I'm going to grab my polyline tool, and I'm going to zoom in where we started out here, and let's go to the outside tip of this. I'm going to click here, and you're going to want to go around to each outside point because we're going to draw the bottom of the frame. Now remember to make sure you're on the outside points. So I'm zooming in, zooming out. Okay. Now once I get to here, I can do C, enter to close up my shape. Okay, so now I have just a thin line, okay? But it obviously doesn't give me a whole lot. It's not a solid object like these are. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna offset, type in offset and hit enter. And then the distance is 0.25. I think I like that, so I'm gonna hit enter to accept that. I'm gonna click this object and then head outside of it. And click enter, okay? And now I need to extrude that. So I'm going to do an extrude, and then I'm going to click both lines, okay? And I'm going to hit enter because I'm done selecting objects. And now I want it to extrude. I'm going to go over to this side. I want it to go down, okay? Or do I want it to go up? Yeah, I guess I want it to go up. I only want it to go up like 0.7. So we'll do 0.7, enter, okay? Now we get this kind of ridiculous capped off thing, okay? But we're gonna subtract the middle hexagon out from the outer hexagon. So I'm gonna type subtract and hit enter. And the way subtract works is I pick the larger object. So this is the outside hexagon. I'm gonna click on it. And then I'm gonna hit enter. And then I'm gonna choose the inside object, click on it and hit enter. And we should end up with this nice frame, just like that, okay? Ooh, very exciting. All right, we're gonna do the same thing to the top, and then we will move on to the lamp stand and turn on all these layers again. Polyline tool, and we'll do it, this time we'll do it from, oh, probably here is good, because that's the outer part. Okay, so I'm gonna click there, go around and do this. So this will not, like when you see it, you'll see that these side frames will kind of be sticking up over, because as you see here, they don't really make the same shape, but that's okay. I'm not worried about that. I'm going to here and here and C to close. Awesome. Same thing, we're gonna offset. I'm gonna choose the offset distance is gonna be 0.25, which it's already set for, so I'm gonna hit enter. I'm gonna click my hexagon, move outward, and then we're good. Okay, so now we're going to extrude that. Extrude. I'm going to choose both hexagons, that one and that one. Hit enter and move over here so I can see what I'm doing. This one I actually want to go down, so I'm going to do negative 0.7. Enter. Okay, and then we get this. Okay, and like I said, those things kind of go up over. There's probably a way to cut those off, but I'm not worried about it for this assignment. I will show that to you maybe in the future. So we're gonna just subtract. So subtract, enter, head really close so I know which hexagon I'm grabbing where. You grab the outside hexagon, hit enter, grab the inside hexagon, hit enter. Nope, that did not work. So subtract, I'll try that again. I got zoomed too far out to be able to tell which hexagon. Outside hexagon, enter, inside hexagon, enter. There we go. So now you have your frame, and you can actually turn your fabric layer back on, and you can see it. It's one ugly lamp, but that's okay, lampshade. All right. Now, I'm going to show you two other things, and then you're done. So we need to make a stand, and this is going to be on the lamp stand layer. So I'm going to double click that. I'm also going to change my view over here to from Southwest Isometric to, let's try front view and see what that gives us. There we go, that's what I wanted. Now I'm actually going to hide the fabric and the frame for this also, okay? Now, we need, is our base down there? Yes, it is. All right, so we need to have a revolved surface. So we're gonna just do polyline tool, okay? Now we want this to be pretty small because it's gonna double in size as we move around. So one little box is a centimeter, so maybe we'll just go one box over. So I'm gonna start here, go here, and start heading straight down. I'm actually gonna turn the frame on just for a minute so I can see how far down I need to go before we can actually see this stuff. Okay, I'm gonna turn my ortho mode on too so I know I'm straight. So I'm just gonna head down somewhere like around here. Okay, click there, and now I'm going to turn my frame off again Okay, now we're gonna do A for arc and S for second point, and we'll choose a second point. We'll turn off the grid snap now and the ortho mode now, and we'll choose a second point somewhere over here. Now this part you can get sort of creative with, okay? Don't go too far out because it's gonna make it look really weird, okay? So I can do A for arc again, S for second point again. I can do second point. Well, that's funky, isn't it? I can go S for second point. Oh, there we go. And then go this way. That will give us some nice definition there. Okay. And you can go back to line by typing L for line. Okay. I can turn the grid back on if I want. The snap grid. Okay, and I could snap there. Okay. But you know, get creative with it. Okay. Do what you'd like. You can even do some that come out instead of in. Like this. That would be kind of fun. Alright. The important thing is that everything is connected and you make it all the way to the bottom. Okay. See how I'm getting a little out here? If I go to view, zoom, all, okay, it will bring me back to my drawing limits so that I can see my whole object. Okay, so that's really small looking, all right, but it will double in size as I go. Okay, and then when I get down here, don't forget to accommodate for the base. So you can use this as an example over here. Okay, I'm just gonna go super fast on mine. I'm not gonna put any arcs in. All right, there we go. And then you only need half, and then you gotta make it back to the center and hit enter. Okay, so this should be, when you highlight it, it should be all one shape. Okay, and in case you can't remember how we did the revolve, it's under 3D tools. It's under the extrude, like the button underneath the extrude. It's called the revolve command, and you click on the profile you just drew. You hit enter, and then you choose 2 points that you want to revolve around, or I know I want to revolve around the y-axis, so I'm just going to type y, enter. Okay, whoa, that didn't, oh, and then it's going to ask me, nope, I don't want to do it that way. Me and trying to do shortcuts. All right, let's see. Revolve, click the profile, hit enter, choose 2 points along a line. So that's 1 point, and then the other point is down here. I can already tell my base is not big enough. Okay, ooh, but that looks nice. All right, and then it's going to ask me how many degrees I want to rotate around. It's set for 360. I'm going to hit enter. Okay, so now I get this lampstand shape. Okay, which mine's pretty small and pretty subtle. If I turn the fabric and the, it's not bad actually. Okay, so I will try to show you one other thing, but I don't know if it's going to work. On your computers, I've had a problem with this, and I don't know why. So there is something under Window called Materials Browser, and this is actually really cool if you can get it to work. So, whoa. So there is a ton of different types of materials like fabric and masonry and stuff. So I'm gonna click where it says type and see. So that's ceramic. Okay, there should be a little vinyl flooring. Okay, wood flooring. So maybe, ooh, fabric leather. See this little thing here? That's gonna give you a little like preview of what this looks like. So maybe I want my lampshade to be brown leather. So I'm gonna click on it and then click my lampshade, and maybe it will do that. Maybe if I control click on it, assign to selection. So maybe if I select it first, there we go. That's a little better. I don't know if that will work for you. It might not. And I could click the trim, select that, and let's make it aluminum metal, add assign to selection. Okay, it's actually really hard to see now, so I'm going to undo that. Let me do a different one. Here's a different metal. Let me click on this here so you can see it there, and I'll do this metal assign to selection. No, it didn't actually do it that time. Right click here, assign to selection. No, so sometimes it seems to work, sometimes it does not want to work. Assign to selection. Okay, it works on that one. I don't know why it doesn't work on the arrays. On the array, you might have to, if you double click on the array, there's a thing that says edit source, because arrays are like clones of each other. So if I edit source objects of the associated array, okay, so I'm going to say yes. And then I'm going to say, let's assign this to the selection. See, save changes. Yeah, didn't seem to change it, but whatever. You can decide how to, so I'm going to do it with here, and we'll go with, let's go with brick, even though that doesn't make a whole lot of sense for this lamp. Okay, so you may want to do something different. I don't know if it will even let you, to be honest with you, but take a nice picture. I'll do like an isometric view here so you can see a little better. Hey, there we go. That's not so bad. But you want your base to be wider, come all the way out here. Okay, but that's it for the lamp, and make sure you post that on your wiki space and do your writing.